Jalen, it's Michael Kay and Don LaGreca. How are you today?
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
All right, what do you think of the decision? Do you think it was the right decision?
Adam Silver handled himself with all due affection like a boss. He looked real presidential up there. I don't know if he's a Republican or a Democrat, but he looked really good up there. He handled himself with so much strength but also dignity, because from the first press conference where he was a little bit nervous and he was reading his cue cards to today, he was definitive. It was the right ruling. It was the only ruling. It's a humane issue. Obviously, when you upset so many different ethnicities, you upset humanity. That's one thing. But the other thing is you upset the apple cart when you start messing with the money. And when sponsors start pulling out and players not want to play for you literally anymore, that's when everyone must take notice of that.
And what do you think the owners will do, Jalen?
22 of the owners, they have to vote. And ironically for me, 3 of those owners have Michigan ties. Tom Gores of the Pistons, Dan Gilbert of the Cavs, and Rich DeVos of the Orlando Magic. And I've been in contact with all of those gentlemen within the past 12 months, and I've seen an outpour of owners across the league who came out and supported Adam Silver's decision. Again, people got to remember, regardless of what Donald Sterling has done over the last 30 years, which has been nothing as an owner, they have the worst overall win percentage of the 4 major sports. So there was a part of the owners and liked having that guy in. They don't really need an arena or a dome. He's just going to play in the Lakers gym like a JV team. He handled his team poorly, so that was kind of good for business in a sense because you knew you could get a win there. But now with his team on everybody's schedule, you can't have that type of behavior, and rightfully so.
Do you believe that the Clippers now should play as hard as they could play? Should they take the court? Because let's play this out, Jalen. Let's say the Clippers click and they win the championship. They're forcing Sterling to sell the team. They win a championship, they're worth more than they're worth right now.
They will be, and also it's almost like who's stepping and who's fetching. He bought the team 30 years ago for $15 million. He's going to sell the team for around $750 million. But what did happen, he got eliminated from an exclusive fraternity, the NBA, and there's nothing like it. There's nothing like being one of those 30 owners, and he will not be a part of that frat anymore.
So you think the players should play tonight, that justice has been served by Silver?
Yeah, I really do think they should play at this point because there's been a matter of separatism, and you know that the league is working fast and swiftly with the owners and with Adam to get him out. So if you know that and you trust that, then you might as well go out and try to play your best and try to get to the NBA Finals.
Jalen, do you believe they were blindsided by this, or do you believe, as some have suggested, that maybe the NBA had a blind eye to Donald Sterling over the last 30-plus years?
Well, anybody that follows the league intimately knows that Donald Sterling has been sued at least 9 times for racial and discriminatory acts. So for those of us that have been paying attention, that's no secret. But when your team is so bad as his has been over the past 30 years, it kind of went as a blip on the radar. That's why now with social media and a lot of different news cycles and radio and television, and people are just more educated and sophisticated, have more pride and self-worth. You can't behave like that. You can't speak like that. But also there was a crime committed, and I want everybody to pay attention to that also. You can be persecuted. You can be prosecuted in L.A. for recording a private conversation, and that's also what happened in this case. But regardless of whether it's public or private, those are things that you hope that an NBA owner wouldn't spew regardless of the forum.
Do you believe that the Clippers can actually win this series now, Jalen, or have they been distracted sufficiently that they can't get back on track?
They're the better basketball team. They were expected to win, especially without Andrew Bogut. They got 2 of the top 10 players in the league, in Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. DeAndre Jordan was the player that led the league in field goal percentage, and he led the league in block shots. So because of that, they were the better team. They had home court advantage. They still have home court advantage. I give Golden State a puncher's chance because Steph Curry and Klay Thompson can get hot. But Harrison Barnes is a little too inconsistent, and David Lee has come and go in this series. I still think the edge goes to the Clippers.
What do you think the crowd reaction is going to be like tonight?
I think it's going to be a relief because the crowd knows, the players know, and everybody affiliated knows that this dark cloud that's hung over that organization for 30 years. Think about it. I don't care what team you root for. The Clippers have been the worst in all of the 4 major sports in the last 30 years.
Right.
He's been their owner, a gentleman that's also been accused of being a slumlord, that same guy. So to have him out of the way emotionally, I think it's going to take a lot of pressure off of the players and the fans. Everybody's going to take a sigh of relief and go out and play good basketball.